Hey guys, what's up? It's Randy. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through my brand new native Watercraft Hammer 1210. Let's get into it. So before we begin, I want to talk about how and why I chose the Hammer 1210 as my kayak of choice. And in order to talk about that, I got to talk about my first kayak. Before this hammer, I had the Ascend 12T, and it was a cheap kayak, but a decent kayak for the price, and it got me out on the water, and I learned a lot from it. But I quickly hit a ceiling, and anytime I wanted to add a modification to it, it felt like I was destroying the structural integrity of the kayak, and I wanted a new kayak to, grow into and to be able to allow me to fish the way I want to fish. So when I decided to get a new kayak, I initially was looking at the Titan X 12.5. It was stable and it was rock solid. And as I was looking into that, I saw that Native Watercraft was coming out with a Hammer 1210, and I looked into that and I thought it had more convenience that I wanted. So I ultimately decided to go with the Hammer because one, it is convenient to rig, and two, it's fast and nimble. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's start breaking down the kayak from bow to stern. Let's start over here. So the motor I went with was the Motor Guide XI3 Saltwater Edition. This was the kayak motor I had when I had the Ascend 12T. And what I love about it is it has spot lock, and that's about it. That's about it. It's kind of heavy. It's kind of cumbersome. It pushes the bow down significantly. And it makes me a little uncomfortable in the water when I have to come up and adjust it. Now, wiring the motor, I decided to go with the Marine Co plug because it is very sturdy, very well built. My previous motor plug, I think I had, what did I have? It was like some Amazon plug that kept corroding, and I kept having to brush it out with a wire brush. I haven't had an issue with this yet, so this is a rock solid plug if you guys are looking for a plug. So going into the nav lights, I decided to go with some random Amazon brand because the yak power, it's very convenient to rig, but it corrodes so easily. I've had the yak power lights on my Ascend 12T, and I kept having corrosion issues with it, and the adhesive kept coming off. So I kept having to stick it back down. This is cheap, it's easy to replace. I think it's like $8, and if I really wanted to, I can just buy some LED strips and resolder them myself. Now, wiring the nav lights, I decided to go through the hatch and behind this molly panel that I DIY'd myself. So I just got some sheet of plastic and cut out this myself, just freehanded, so it's a little crooked. So I got the wire running over here, and I have this bungee cord pulling up on the cable so that when I close it, it sucks it up. So what I love about that is I don't have to worry about its rat's nesting, and I feel a lot more comfortable opening and closing the hatch every time. I don't have to worry about making sure the cables are in the right spot before I close it. So I'm very happy with this mod. Now moving on to the battery in the front hatch, I have a Lifetime 50 amp hour battery to power my graph. I have a trolling motor plug to power my graph because, again, I had so many corrosion issues with the yak power ports that I thought I should just overkill this and not have to worry about it ever again, and I love it. Now, speaking of the graph, I am rocking the Garmin 106 SV. This is a sick graph. It is very bright and it's very clear. It's very clear, and I love that it's touchscreen. I had the Striker 4, the Garmin Striker 4 Vivid. The screen was I think 720p. I could barely see anything on the screen, and it wasn't touchscreen. Moving on to this, it's like night and day. It's ultra clear. I can see it in daylight, and it's touchscreen, which is my favorite part. Now, paired with the graph, I am rocking the LVS 34 for my LiveScope, and I have it mounted on this Sniper Marine pole, and this is awesome. This is a badass rig. I feel cool on the water. People think I look cool on the water. At least I think they think I look cool. And it's so convenient to have. To be able to just pop this out and rig it up like this when I'm moving. One thing I don't like about the Sniper Marine pole, if you get the aluminum mount, or the aluminum indicator, it's kind of sharp. I have cut myself a couple times on it. It's like ridiculously sharp, like for no reason. I might file this down because that is a sharp point. Now, wiring the LiveScope, I had very limited options. I wanted to go into a PowerLink plate, but there were no PowerLink plates near the seats, and I didn't want to have the wire run all the way up and have a long mess of wires to deal with. So I decided to do a rod holder delete. This was made out of Kydex. I just cut out a pattern in the shape of the rod holder, and I installed a chassis mount on top of the Kydex. And I think underneath I have a 10-foot extension going to the LiveScope box. It sucks that I have to lose a rod holder, but I think this is way more clean, way more convenient to use, and it's out of the way. Now, up front on the deck, the Hammer 1210 comes with the brand new X-Range pedal drive, and this thing is awesome. It's fast. I didn't realize how fast a pedal could be. I thought it was just gonna be like a thing I don't really touch, but I use this every time. I've stopped using my anchor mode on my XI3. One, because of the LiveScope. The anchor mode kind of like has you spin around a lot. So I keep it off and I just rock this to keep me in place. And it's so convenient to use. Like, you could just pop it up and it folds down out of the way. And I pop it up a lot more than I was expecting, because every time I'm standing, I am popping this up and sliding my chair back, and now I have this whole front deck to stand on. And I feel a lot more comfortable, and I feel like I have a lot more room to fish. On my right side, I have the Yak Attack paddle holder here, and this thing is awesome. I think from the factory it comes with like these double paddle holders on the back where you split your paddles in half. I did not want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with fumbling around, reaching out for that. So I got this, and it's great. Moving further back, let's talk about the battery compartment. Oh, even before the battery compartment, I want to show you guys the seat. So this is the Millennium seat that native paired with the kayak, and it is awesome. I mean, people complain about the swivel seat. I don't have that much of an issue with pedaling and sitting on the seat. I do think it spins a little too easily, which is good and bad. You know, whenever I want to like spin around, grab tackle on the back, it's really cool for that. But other than that, it's a solid seat. I wish it was a little higher because it's kind of hard on my back, but it's not that big of an issue for me pedaling and sitting on the seat. I don't have much like swiveling issues. But underneath the seat is the battery compartment. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of this kayak. The battery is in the perfect spot. It is right underneath you towards the center of the kayak, and I feel a lot more balance with the battery right here underneath me. Now, I had to remove the factory battery plate because it fit my battery, but my battery stuck up a little more. So I just got some Kydex, shaped my own battery compartment, and now this sits perfectly flush. And I also replaced the strap so the buckle doesn't stick up and warp the hatch plate. Wiring my battery, I would not recommend doing it like this. I ultimately decided to go with terminal into the 60 amp hour breaker going into the Marine Co plug. I think this is one, a little overkill, and two, a little dangerous, because I'm gonna make sure this is off. You should never have your power connected to exposed pins like this, because I've had this happen to me where I've accidentally dropped my plug and it has shorted and popped the breaker. And if I didn't have that breaker, who knows what would have happened. What I would recommend is you go through hole port, wire coming through straight to the battery with the circuit breaker, obviously. That is a much more safer option. And also, how often are you plugging in and unplugging this port? With this hatch, I've left my battery in transport at all times. I've never taken this out, and I've never needed to. So yeah, don't do what I did. Do not put a plug, unless you get like a different plug. You should just go straight out of the PowerLink plate here. All right, now moving back to storage, I have the Yak Attack Black Pack paired with a Battleship Gray short stack. And this thing has been awesome. I had one of those DIY milk crate builds, and it was great, but again, corrosion is a big issue, especially when you live in Southern California and you live by the beach. You gotta fish saltwater. When I bought this kayak, I thought, you know what? I have the kayak, let's just go big. I got the Black Pack, and I have not looked back since. I carry everything in here. I have gloves, beanies just in case it gets cold, my fishing scale. And obviously down here, because I don't have to deal with the battery's in this hatch right here, I get all this space for tackle. I have all my tackle boxes. I got this Alabama rig floating around. This is a lot of storage. I wish I had more. Now at the back here, we got native Watercraft spring blade rudder system. It's just easy to use. It's just this pulley up here that you pull and let go, and it comes back down. From the factory, either from the factory or from the dealer I got it from, they had the spring blade so tight I had to muscle it to get it up. I had since loosened it and it is a lot easier to use. I was complaining about it at first. I was like, this is supposed to make my life easier, but it was just too tight. And this is, now that I loosened it, it has been fantastic. All right, so that wraps up the tour video of the kayak. Hopefully this has inspired you to maybe pick up your own hammer, or it's giving you some ideas on how to rig your own kayak. If you have any questions about my kayak or any rigging questions, leave it down in the comments below and I will get to it in the next video. Thanks for joining. See ya.